last video about Layer 2, we explained why do we need Layer 2 projects and how they're going to solve the scalability problem on Ethereum. But in this video, we want to provide a useful website so you can gather necessary information about Layer 2 projects. But that's not the end of it. We also want to introduce Polygon as a leading Layer 2 project on Ethereum, and the solution is providing. So watch this video till the end. Hey folks, this is Nima from MB.Cryptocurrency, and as we explained on our introduction, we want to provide a useful website for Layer 2 projects on Ethereum. And this is the first part of the video, and the second part will be explanation about Polygon. So without any further ado, let's jump into it. The total value locked for the Layer 2 project is 6.6 billion. You have to monitor what's happening, I would suggest weekly, to see what's happening, to see the trends. And when it's going up and down, it might give you noises, but if you follow in weekly, that might give you a good feeling of what are the sense of the market. And as you know, Polygon, it's not in one of the projects, which I will explain in the second part why. The short answer is Polygon wants to enter everything. It's not you want to enter optimistic rollup, ZK-rollup, which is Hermez, and Valdium, Plasma. And because Polygon thinks there's not only one way to solve the scalability problem on Ethereum, there should be all of them. Depends on what you're gonna use, depend on use case that you have, personally. So they want to provide everything on the roadmap. So that's a very basic answer about why it's not in here. But the projects that we hear already, we can see Arbitrum, DivideX, Optimism, Loopring. DivideX and Loopring, they have the token already. They're using ZK-rollup. Arbitrum, Optimism, they have not. Optimistic, there's a rumor that the token, they might release their coin for Optimism and possibly for Arbitrum as well. But there's a much more rumor at the moment for Optimism. That's why personally, as a person, not as a financial advisor, as someone that can educate, I did it. I would suggest you to do one simple transaction from Ethereum mainnet to Optimism chain, and then possibly you can receive an airdrop for it. This is the same as the Arbitrum. I just would suggest, it's not a financial advice, it's just a suggestion. That would be good. So you won't really lose that much money if you do any transaction. I know sometimes depends on the Ethereum gas fee, might be $5 to $10. If you really do it in a good time, sometimes it can be even $30. I would not suggest doing that, but depends on your choice. You can get a really good information about each project as well by clicking them, description about risk summary, everything operator, how they work, smart contract, pros and cons, as we explained. And on the risk part, you can see what are the risks. For example, data availability. Is it a data on-chain, external, or what sort of, is it data availability committee that doing the, the data saving, or how they doing the state validation. For example, fraud proof they're using a ZK Starks with a zero knowledge proof. Even the validator failure. For example, if the validators fail to do the transaction, can you withdraw? For example, Arbitrum, you cannot. But some of them can do with the Miracle Proof of Fund. So you can get this necessary information out of this. Even if they're getting upgraded, do they provide any notice, or they're going to do it without the notice? For example, the Arbitrum DivideX, they do without notice. Immutable X, the code will be secured and it can be changed, but user have some time to react for it, which is 14 days. So just go through it to see what it can do. Oh, as I explained, this Polygon Hermez. This is they're using ZK. This is a part of the Polygon, which is not a Polygon itself. It's part of the Polygon, as they try to solve, the scalability problem on Ethereum in so many ways. Not only, for example, ZK-rollup, not only Optimism, not only state channel or sidechain. They wanna provide everything. So that's the first part of this video, general explanation how to use this website. On the second part, we will go through Polygon. Even Polygon Hermez is part of it. We will explain what's currently happening at the moment, which things that they're working, which on the testnet, and which part of the Polygon it's on the roadmap and they intend to do, and what are they and what they're gonna do. So make sure to stay with us. Okay, let the fun begin about the Polygon project introduction. If you watch this video till the end, I myself promise if you enter a room which they're talking about the layer 2 projects, you will have something to say to add to their value, especially if you watch the previous video about the layer 2 projects. You have to know, you have to understand which points in the layer 2 projects are important, how to simplify it and present it in the way that I'm going to present it to you. So let's just start with what is Polygon. Polygon is wanted to be the internet of blockchains on Ethereum, which that means Polygon's gonna take several approach in order to solve this scalability problem as a layer 2 project, right? Here's a list that you can find about the approaches that they already have it deployed, or they're on the testnet, or they want this like under development to be fully developed. Now, let's just start with the first one, which is Polygon Proof of Stake, or the sidechain. If you have a basic knowledge about the blockchain, you should have heard about blockchain trilemma, which that means there's one side speed, one side decentralization, and one side security. If you're gonna have the security and decentralization, speed is out of the equation. And if you wanna have the speed and security, decentralization is out of this equation. And all of the blockchains trying to cover all three of them, but they haven't been fully successful. And something happened with Ethereum with 15 transactions per second is how it is decentralized and it is well secured, right? But for the Polygon proof of stake, we have the security and it is fast. It is much more, we got a speed, but the decentralization is out of the equation. It is much more centralized than Ethereum. And the people that's doing the transaction, they're approving the transaction, they get called validators rather than node, which is generally it's a same thing, but they call it node and proof of work, and proof of stake they call validators, as they don't need to do any, they're using computational power. And the still people, the average people can delegate and still earn rewards. You know, the validator stake, they token in order to get rewards, you can delegate as well. And as you know, this Polygon proof of stake, as I explained in the last video, is a side chain. That means which is a copy of Ethereum blockchain, that whatever happened that's worked, for example, EIP 1559 token that happened in Ethereum, it happens on Polygon as well. It is the exact same thing, but the consensus mechanism is a little bit different and depends if it's centralized or decentralized, which is Polygon, it's much more centralized, Ethereum as well. Now, more than 10,000 dApps has been developed on Polygon, which is one of the positive points compared to other layer 2 projects as well, such as Avail, Balancer, and so many other things. And also Uniswap as well. So that's one of the positive points. Also, you can swap your coins and tokens, bridge it from Ethereum to Polygon, and it's EVM compatible, right? Because it is a sidechain. It is everything same as Ethereum, as like a copy. Also, I gotta mention there's a website, Polygon Scan, which you can find your transaction if you did any transaction over there, and also you can find so many useful information such as active users, like new users, and other related blockchain information, which they call it on-chain data. You can find it over there, which is really useful. Sometimes you can find if it's, for example, the unique number is rising, you can get like a general information that there is much more adoptions these days. Aside from the sidechain that the Polygon proof of stake introduced, the second solution that they're providing, it's actually ZK-rollup called Polygon Hermez, which, as you know, which I wish you know, if you don't, make sure go back to watch our previous video about what is ZK-rollup and what is a sidechain. ZK-rollup use Ethereum security. That's why the transaction speed will be much more lower than the proof of stake, which is the sidechain, the Polygon proof of stake. On the sidechain, the transaction per second was 65,000. On this one is 2,000. And as you know, for the ZK-rollup, the transactions get rolled up in a batch and they do the computational power, so it will be much more easier, and they send it as a batch on Ethereum mainnets to be approved. It has its own non-custodial wallets, either web-based and a mobile application as well, which it makes it much more useful, especially as they try to provide it as a scalable payment solution. First, we talked about the sidechain. Second, about the ZK-rollup, that was a Polygon Hermez. And third, it's about the Polygon Edge, the next solution that they already providing, which it's a tool for a developer to make their own public and private blockchain. That's not a token, that's their own blockchain. The thing is, that blockchain will be EVM compatible and they have their own built-in bridge from Ethereum and Polygon. It makes it much more useful. But the thing is, so it is much more centralized. It has its own use case, but you have to know that if you want to pay and make your own blockchain with Polygon Edge, it will be costly and it will be much more centralized. But the thing is, you can transfer all of your ERC20 token and even your NFTs from Ethereum, from Polygon, use it as a bridge and transfer it to your own blockchain. Next one on the list is Polygon Nightfall. It is a privacy-focused rollup for enterprise, which means it uses optimistic rollup with the zero-knowledge cryptography. It's not a zero-knowledge, it's not ZK-rollup. It is still optimistic rollup. It's only using the zero-knowledge cryptography in order to make it private, and so that people cannot trace or track your transaction, but still it uses Ethereum security, which that makes it better. But the cost is, compared to other rollups, the transaction per second is still much more lower. It's like 110 transactions per second, but depends on the use case that people or the institution, the enterprise they're gonna have. It is private. One of the main problems the off-chain solution will have, such as the Validium and the Plasma, which I mentioned in the previous video, it's about the data availability, data ordering, all this stuff. Polygon introduced the Polygon Avail, which they want to solve this problem by helping the all the data availability, ordering, having them, and if they need it to be, they can send all data to their blockchains, such as for example, the Polygon Edge. When they having their own blockchain, they won't have the problem with the data availability. They can help with that, or even the off-chain solution, they can help with that, even the verified client chain as well. So generally, it's about the data. It's the ordering and data availability for the blockchain in order to make sure the transaction will happen. Okay, the next Polygon solution is really fascinating. It's Polygon Miden. It is a stock-based ZK-rollup with support of arbitrary smart contract, which if you know about ZK-rollup, there's one of the main problem with ZK-rollup. They cannot really support the smart contract. There's like lacking a little. But the thing is, with Polygon Miden, they're not using the EVM. They develop something much more complex than Hermez, which, as you know, Hermez is a ZK-rollup as well. This one, it's much more complex. They're using Miden virtual machine rather than Ethereum virtual machine. It's much more complex, and I don't really want to get into information, and it's still under development, so it has not been released yet, and I'm much more excited about it. Polygon Miden can scale much more than the average ZK rollup, and currently it has 1,000 transactions per second. I mean, it's not developed, but they think when it gets developed, it will have 1,000 transactions per second. And by the time the sharding for Ethereum will be released, it will be around 10,000 transactions per second with the ZK rollup. That's fascinating. We have another zero-knowledge proof solution on Polygon called Polygon Zero. The thing is, this one it's a composable ZK EVM, which can scale with all of the data available to the network. And the thing is, I don't want to make it complex, but the thing is, the ZK, the zero knowledge, that was either like a rollup or they work here like an off-chain, that was Validium. This one just gives you both options to offers both ZK rollup and Validium, which is the data's off-chain. And also it uses like a Plunky 2. It uses the power of Plunky 2, which another like a technology kind of new to the Polygon. It is still under development. It reduced the zero proof to like 45 kilobyte, as I mentioned on the website. So it just makes it a little bit technical. I don't want to make it much more complex than this, but just think it as a way that they try to make it faster, but make it smaller, and make it data smaller by using another the zero knowledge proof, and you can choose either between Validium and ZK-rollup to be stored on chain or off chain. Okay, after a long list of what a solution that Polygon tried to provide, which already are there or they is still under development or on the testnet, now the last one, it's Polygon ID. It is an identity system with zero knowledge proof, privacy, and it's try to bring the programmable privacy to the identification. For example, you can prove your identity without revealing the specific information, such as, for example, I'm in Australia, but I don't want to provide other information to, for example, if I want to use a Web3 or something related in these matters. So all in all, let me summarize everything. The good things about Polygon is try to provide so many solutions in order to fit depends on your use case. For example, if you're an institution, if you want to have your own blockchain that's going to be like EVM compatible, you're going to use the Polygon Edge. Or if you're a startup, you can use other things. If you're an individual, you're just only going to use something that related to the ZK-rollup that's only going to be even private. You're going to use the privacy as well. Or in future, you can use the Polygon Miden as well that brings the arbitrary smart contract on zero knowledge rollups, which that makes it like a good things. It provides everything depends on your use case, who you are, or what type of program that you want to have or use case that you're going to have on a layer 2. That things is good, but something that really concerns me, it's if the Polygon ecosystem does not grow as much as it should, but by May 2025, as you know, the staking rewards will stop roughly around that time, which means the validators will not get paid that much if the ecosystem does not grow. But if it does, if there's so many transaction, ecosystem's already big, that will be no problem. But if it does not, the validators might give up and that can completely destroy the ecosystem. If something happened with Ethereum, I know the whole crypto world will be affected by it, but the Matic will just go to zero if something happens to Ethereum, like Vitalik Buterin, something happened to him if he dies. So this the risk that you should know. We try to be unbiased as much as possible. As I said, there's like a really good project, so you have to invest wisely and you have to closely watch what's happening to the ecosystem. How many people trying to use it, as how much adoption it has. And one of the other problems that I'm going to mention, I don't want to make it much more complex than this, but please bear with me. It's I don't really remember the percentage. I was like 20% of the token allocation was for ecosystem. Excuse me if I'm wrong about the percentage, but you get the point. It's if they try to use ecosystem thematic token to sell it and give it to other project in order the ecosystem grows, that makes it as one of the selling pressure as well. And it is much more centralized in Ethereum, which around 80% of the token stake on the Polygon, it's only for 10 validators, which is, as you know, like only 10 validators have the 18% the stake token on the network. It doesn't mean 18% of the whole Matic of the all tokens. No, it's only the one that's stake. It is a really like a big chunk of the Matics, so we have to really be cautious about it, and it is much more centralized as we really do not really expect. Matics are well known. We know so many big developers working on them, so many investors, Mark Cuban, there is so many big brains trying to solve the scalability solution on the Ethereum as a layer 2 project. So do not forget, again, like, subscribe, tell your friend if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, and talk it to your friends and help them if they want to have like a better understanding about what is Polygon and what is providing. Until next time.